y'all doing? Good evening. Welcome to the Tea Factory podcast. Thank you for stopping by and checking out this video and this commentary. Today we are talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10, episode 7. Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10, episode 7. And the name of the episode is Guess Who Is Back? Guess Who's Back? Okay, so before we get started, housekeeping. Section 107 of the Copyright Material, Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. There's an allowance for fair use of copyrighted material for such purposes as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research as examples of activities that might qualify as fair use. All commentary is in my own opinion and is for entertainment purposes only. We, in this channel, we don't like to make up stuff, lie, and fabricate on people. We just stick to the truth, okay? But this is the TV show episode commentary. But I just had to say that because, today I've been in YouTube streets and I saw something that was irritating. And, some people, you have the right to say whatever you want to on your YouTube channel. And some people, they just get on their channel and make up lies, or just speak very, very, very negatively of certain celebrities and stars and stuff. They just say whatever they want to say. And I know I'm getting off subject, but that's why Cardi B has sued that blogger and stuff like that. So it's like that's why celebrities, and then like right now, Megan Stallion going through what she's going with that blogger, and sometimes you have to sue people, and that's why I try in my channel. There's no BS is allowed. I don't care if there's some when I'm giving commentary, there might be some characters or somebody that I don't like, I can't stand, and I'll say, I'll give my opinion, and I'll say this is my opinion. I just don't like so and so. Like for example, I don't like Destiny on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And and um and I'll before I say anything negative, I'll say, in my own opinion, and I don't like her and stuff. But I'm not gonna go and make up some stuff about her though. I'm not gonna fabricate and go create stories about her. I'm just gonna comment on what I see in front of me on TV and the character or whatever that she's playing on Love and Marriage, and just comment on that. Um, but this is not what this is about. We're gonna be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac. So let me get back on track. So I'm gonna stop talking about that. But that um, YouTuber earlier was just, not gonna say names or anything like that. Was just, just didn't care for the things that they were saying. Um, anyway, so and that's why, and you have the right to get off the person's channel. And that's exactly what I did. Clicked off. Um, so anyway, so this episode opens up with Kiara. There was really nothing to see here. She was at her studio. It looked like somebody was, doing something to her face because she has like a wellness face maintenance, skin maintenance type business, and so that was that scene. I mean, it was like only 2 seconds. It was really like a flashback, and then next they did like a quick flashback of Angel talking with her husband regarding the house in Maryland and the house in Colorado. And she pretty much was saying that she wants to duplicate the house that they have in Colorado to something like that in Maryland. The house that they have in Colorado, they keep showing it, and it does look like it's a nice house. I can see how she's like missing that house. It looked like it does look like a really amazing house. So then next we have Tia on the phone talking to her mother and on FaceTime, and then her kids are like fighting to try to talk to their grandma, and then one of the kids kind of snitches on Tia and tells and says that she talks crappy about her mom sometimes. I'm like, dang, that was rude. Kids are, kids will they'll put you on Front Street. You can't do anything um, in front of your children. You can't do anything that you don't want to be repeated, because they will repeat it and they'll put you on Front Street. Um, so there's really no commentary in that scene. So then we have the big scene, the main scene, because those three scenes, they were nothing. They were just like, space fillers. The main scene, the big scene, was Ashley going to Monique's house, and they showcase Monique. So now we know Monique is back, and that's what the title's for. Guess who's back? The person who's back is Monique. And apparently, Monique and Ashley have remained friends through the years. They've kept contact. I really did not know that they were that close friends. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So that was good to know. Which is odd, because they're two different personalities. Because Ashley is like annoying and just be the things that she does on the show, like coming for Stacy the way she does. But maybe she just at this point, I feel like these people are playing characters. And then Monique is more like Zen. She's into oils. She's got her beautiful dreads and stuff like that. And she's, I don't know. And she's like, has all these animals. She damn near has a zoo in her house. So they're kind of like opposites, but opposites attract. So I guess that's why they're friends. Now, can we take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate Monique's beauty? Monique is a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful sister with them beautiful dreads, and just want to appreciate and give the our sister her flowers. She's a beautiful black woman, a beautiful sister. So um, when Ashley comes over to Monique's house, Monique is showing her around the house. The house is nice, and she's showing her, the animals and the bird and stuff like that. So she shares with Ashley that the bird that flew and kind of like attacked or flew on Wendy when Wendy was having that episode in that one season, and she shared with her that that bird has passed away. And then they go outside to sit down and talk, and Ashley, Monique asked her, like, what's going on with the friend group, what's up with everybody. Ashley gives her the update on Giselle and Wendy and everybody else, and then she tells her that she and what's her name, Giselle, had created a line called GNA. And Monique was like, "What made you, do anything that's fashion related with Giselle?" Because everybody knows that Giselle does not have any fashion sense, which she doesn't. Giselle's a beautiful woman, but she cannot dress. I don't know if she has a stylist. I think that guy that's always with her he's either does her hair, or he is her stylist. I don't know what he does, but he needs to tap in and step in and help our sister out with her wardrobe. Um, and then Monique also. So then Ashley asked Monique, what she's been up to, what she's got going on. So Monique just says nothing. She's chilling. She's divorced. She feels 300 pounds lighter. That was shade. She's throwing shade at Chris. She's trying to tell us that Chris damn, maybe he did weigh 300 pounds. He's a football player, so he probably did weigh 300 pounds. But I thought he lost some weight, though. So he looks good now. He looks like he lost some weight from some pictures that I've seen online here and there. But anyway, so that was a little shade she threw at him. And then she says, so she's divorced, she's single, she's 3 pounds lighter. She's not dating anybody. She's trying to work on herself. And she said, ever since that fight between her and Candace, she's, been taking time to reflect on herself, trying to figure out, how the hell she got there and what made her what made her, get, go that far, or get to that point to where the altercation happened between her and Candace. So then Ashley invites Monique to the Pride parade. She tells her that she's gonna have this float, and this is gonna be her introduction back to the show and back to the girls, back to the group. So she invites Monique to come, and then she asked her if she's gonna be okay coming because Giselle's gonna be there. So she says, yeah, she should be fine. She hasn't seen Giselle since that whole reunion thing happened, and then she brought that what's it called, the binder. She's known for the binder. Monique's known for being the binder girl because she came there with the binder, all this evidence and stuff that she apparently supposed to have had on Pastor Jamal. Um, Pastor Jamal Bryant. And then, like I said, not too much on my pastor, honey, not too much. So anyway, so that was that scene. I really don't have anything to say about that scene. I'm glad that Monique is back. Hopefully, we can get something cooking. And now that Wendy has all this incident, going on in real life and in real time with the whole fraud thing, if she ends up being off the show. So I guess Monique came back right on time. Kind of, she's almost like a replacement, in my opinion. If something bad was to happen, hopefully nothing happens to Wendy because I do like Wendy. I like Wendy on the show. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking ahead, but we shall see. So speaking of Wendy, the next scene is Wendy and Eddie. They're in their house. They're remodeling their house. They're remodeling the whole entire house pretty much. Because she said they're getting, they're fixing their sunroom, the family room, the bathroom, the kitchen, the dining room, pretty much the whole entire house. And it was tallying up. Apparently, it's going to be like $100,000 worth of remodel to their house. At that point, you might as well just get you a new house. But no, I'm just kidding. But sometimes, you love your house. You just want to remodel it. So there's nothing wrong with that. So she tells Eddie that for her birthday, her dad did not call her. And she says that, she was pretty much raised by her stepdad. Her dad lives in Nigeria, and her stepdad has passed away. And she said, in her opinion, her stepdad was a good dad to her. Seems like she was close to her stepdad, but her real dad is still alive and living in Nigeria, and he didn't like acknowledge her in a family text, and he didn't call her for her birthday. Um, and I understand how she feels. However, sometimes when there's so much distance, I have found that between family members, when there's so much distance, distance can, how they say, out of sight, out of mind, right? Out of sight, out of mind. So it's not that her dad doesn't love her, but because her dad has been, and I'm not saying that since, like I know him or I'm his spokesperson, I'm going to assume as a father that he still loves his daughter. But because he hasn't been active in her life, and like she said, she was raised by her stepdad, he probably doesn't have that bond and that connection. And so I'm not making excuses, even though that's not an excuse, but sometimes distance will make you disconnect. Distance will make you disconnect with a loved one. You can love someone to death. You can love someone from to the moon, and back. But because of distance, you will end up saying and doing or not doing certain things that show your love because of the distance. Like, again, out of sight, out of mind. So, but still, it hurt her feelings. But I kind of felt like in that moment, she also needs to consider what I just said, the whole out of sight, out of mind, the distance. He wasn't active in her life. And I'm sure she understands that. Like, okay, it hurts. My dad didn't acknowledge me, but also flip side, look at it on the other side. This is, this is, it is what it is. Like, this is what it is. And then at the same time, she should say something to him, either in that chat and say, hey, can you like send me a side chat, or can you call me, or can I call you? Can we do WhatsApp, communicate through WhatsApp, do something, reach out to him and let him know how you feel. I know sometimes, he's the adult and he's the parent in the situation and you want him to reach out. But sometimes you have to reach out to people and let them know how you feel, because they're just going to assume that you feel the same way that they feel. And if you feel differently, no matter who it is and what the relationship, you have to sometimes speak out, speak up, and speak and reach out to the person that you're having, the issues with, to let them know, hey, this is how I feel. This is how I'm interpreting this. Is what I'm feeling correct? And that's a conversation that need to be had before it's too late, because once her father passes away, she's not going to be able to have that conversation with him. So I feel like she needs to reach out to her dad. And then her mother calls, because she was talking about her mom too as well. And then her mom ends up calling, and I like how she had the boundary set up, because she told her mom, hey, I'm in the middle helping Eddie get ready for his pop-up shop. Can I call you back? Can I call you later? And her mom was like, no. She's still talking and asking questions. And Wendy was like, no, I'll talk to you later. She didn't rudely cut her off or anything like that. She just kind of like put her foot down. But her mom, she's been on the show several times. So her mom is hard headed. She's, typical strong African mother. They don't play. And they don't listen. I know. So let's move to the next scene. The next scene, we have Stacy with her lying ass. Okay, now Stacy, how do I feel about Stacy? I don't like Stacy and I don't dislike Stacy. I'm neutral when it comes to Stacy. I'm just neutral. I don't hate her and I don't love her. It's just neutral. She's just a character to me. Cause like there's like I have some faves, on this show, um, on this show, if I had to pick two people on this show, it would probably be Giselle, because she moves the story along, because she's like the villain, and she moves the story. She's like an on-site producer, and then Wendy. But I really don't have a diehard fan on this one. It's like, But on Roa, my favorite is Nene and Portia, even though Nene's not on there anymore. I don't care. Nene and Portia, diehard fan of Nene and Portia. Um, who else do I like in Atlanta? I would have to say Shamia, because I've met Shamia. So I've met Shamia and had conversations with her and stuff like that. So I have to say Shamia because of that. Shamia is good people, but on Potomac, I really don't have a diehard fan. I'm just gonna be honest. But the only person that I really really can like and put up with is probably Giselle, Wendy, and Karen. And then Monique is back, so now I put Monique in the mix. So Giselle, Monique, Wendy, and Karen. The rest of them, it's like whatever. So anyway, so with Stacy, let me get back on track. With Stacy, I've been taking up for Stacy and stuff like that, but this part right here, I was irritated with Stacy. Stacy is lying, y'all. Stacy is lying because, for one, she's doing this photo shoot for her gummy line, and it's called Shayo. Shayo, she says it means happy in Nigerian, in the Nigerian language, one of the languages in Nigeria, rather. Because Nigeria is a country, Nigerian is what a person would be. The language is not called Nigerian. I'm sure there's different languages and dialects, and they have different names. So, for some reason, I feel like she's obsessed with Wendy and Eddie and with their whole Nigerian thing. And then She was never in the industry. She wasn't thinking about being in the industry. It wasn't in her radar. She just copycat their idea and found people. I don't know how she, well, I mean, she probably got online, found some people, made the connections, and now she has her own um, marijuana gummies, and it's called Happy in a Nigerian name, and it may not be called Happy Stacy, but it damn sure has the word happy in it. And I agree with Wendy and Eddie that she is copycat. And then he said he's gonna gonna create his own line of well, his next string, and he's gonna call it copycat. And I don't blame him because that's exactly what Stacy's doing. So she's doing a photo shoot, and then yeah. So then Ashley calls Stacy while Stacy was doing her photo shoot for her product, and she tells her that she's in the middle of the photo shoot, and then she tells her, of course, that she's gonna go ahead and she started her business. And I have to unfortunately agree with Ashley because Ashley's like, the elevator does not go to the top on this girl because she's been lying to us about this line. People asked her about it in New York. She denied it. She tried to say Giselle was lying. She wasn't creating her own line of gummies. And now she's, she's lying. I mean, there's no two ways about it. She's lying. And all she did was take their ideas, some of their ideas, and she just copied and pasted. She could have named it something else that didn't have anything to do with the word happy, but it was just she wasn't being original and being creative and just okay, if and not saying that there's not room for everybody. So okay, if that's what she wants to do, that's perfectly fine. She's not going to be the first one or the last one to have that line of gummies of marijuana. Okay, so she's not going to be the first or last person to do that or copycat, right? And there's room for everybody. The problem I have is the fact that she lied. Like when they asked her about it, when Giselle confronted her, and when Wendy and everybody asked her about it, she lied about it. That's the part that I don't like. Like just stand on your shit. Stand ten toes down. She should have said, "Yeah, I am interested. I'm looking into it. Maybe I can get some advice and some pointers from you guys. Maybe I can, we can work together, or something. You know what I'm saying? Just, speak with your chest out. Like don't lie and then go around behind people's back and do the same you're doing the same shit, and then you come out and you're doing a photo shoot, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, and it's called Shayo and it means happy and in one of the languages in Nigeria." And then I found out that I also have Nigerian heritage, so I'm Nigerian too, and blah blah. Girl, it was just fake, and I don't like that. I don't like fake people, and I don't like people who lie. So next we have Angel. Angel with her sister Ingrid. They're getting some ice cream or whatever. They sit down. They're having a talk. Baby, when Angel was sitting down talking to her sister, she's her older sister, and she was talking mad shit. I was like, "What? Who is this?" Like, I was like, "Who this woman, Harpo?" Because she was talking mad shit. She was just like, she was telling her sister, she was like, Giselle came for me. She said that, I photoshopped and I was catfishing, my photos, and she came for me. And then Wendy was, chiming in, and she called Wendy Whitaker. She called her Forrest Whitaker. She called Wendy Forrest Whitaker, like she was coming for him, and she was just talking mad cash money shit. And I was just like, dang, okay, so who is this Angel? Because where was she in Nevis when they were gaining up on you in Nevis, when they were coming for you for the Photoshop, when that incident happened where she had to go outside and call her husband and she left and went to the room, all that shit, like, Yeah, at the Wendy birthday party thing. And then she left. Like, all that. Like, where were your balls then? Like, you were just sitting there and just smiling and stuff like that, acting very shy and demure. And then now you over here with your sister. Like, bro, like when she did all that, I was like, who's this? Who's this? Who's this angel? Now, I'm not gonna say I was mad at it. I was happy to see that side of Angel because we haven't seen that side of Angel, so I was happy to see it. But I was just like, okay, she needs to have that same energy the next time she sees Giselle. She needs to have that same energy the next time she sees Wendy, you know. But I wasn't mad at her talking that shit. And then like I like when her sister said, look, Giselle be photoshopping her pictures too because she said that Giselle, some of the pictures, she said she's seen Giselle in person before, and she said Giselle's neck looks like an old person, like an old white lady neck. But she said that when you look at Giselle's pictures, though, her neck is nice and smooth and shiny and pretty, and you can tell it's been photoshopped. But then in real life, it doesn't look like that. It looks like all crinkly. So that's what her sister was saying. She was talking shit too. So so yeah, I mean, for me, I was like, hey, they for one, they need to bring the sister around more because we get to see the real angel. Remember, like I said earlier, will the real angel please stand up? So she stood up. She stood up in that scene, and I wasn't mad. I just was shocked. Like I had to sit up on my bed when I was watching. I was like, who did this? So I hate to say this, but I enjoyed that angel. And then her sister said, listen, when I'm through with you and I don't have nothing to say to you, she said, it's forever. I like when she said that, okay? Because I'm the same way too, honey. Because once you cross me or you piss me off or we get into it or whatever, I hold grudges for a long time. It's forever with me too. So then, oh yeah, and then this is another part that I liked her sister. So she said, so she was talking about Giselle and Giselle neck, and then she said, and then the other one was talking shit. She was like, Miss Before and After. She called Wendy before and after because y'all know Wendy had a makeover. Because Wendy didn't look like how she looks now. For those of you who don't know, Wendy had a mommy makeover. She got her butt done. She got her breast done. She probably had some stuff done in her face too. I don't know about the face, but we know for sure about the boobs and the BBL, and probably like the stomach too. She probably had lipo, but so she called her Miss Before and After. Okay, so next scene we have Tia with her family. And so this part right here, I was like, what? So her daughter Alexi, whatever, had a birthday party. And she invited some friends, and apparently someone couldn't get in. So that person got mad and put their address online, on social media. And then about 40 people showed up, and the party was out of control. I guess they were having fun, being teenagers. But to have your information on social media, that's kind of crazy, though. And then the daughter was telling her that she had to call the police, and she called the police 5 times. And then she asked her husband, like, where were you when all this shit was going on? And he was like, he was there. And, the kids, said he was there too. But obviously, he didn't have no control. He didn't have good handle of the situation. And but for the daughter to call the police 5 times, that's kind of crazy. Like, why did you have to call 5 times? Is it because the police don't like that particular area and they weren't going to come over there, or is it because what was going on with the 911 dispatcher, or is it because somebody was like it was just like dangerous and horrible, you have to keep like I kind of needed more information. I kind of wish that they would have gave us a little bit, like why you had to call 5, because usually you only have to call once, maybe twice at the most. You don't have to call 5 times 911. 5 times. I needed more information. Bravo, you know Tia, somebody, hopefully in under your at the reunion, hopefully somebody asked that question, or maybe I need to email Andy or somehow we can get, because you know how he reads some questions from the um the questions are sent in, because I need to know why did she have to call 5 times. And the reason why I keep saying that is because I've called 911 where I live several times, and I never had to call more than once. One time I called the second time, and they were like, well, somebody already called, and they're on their way, they're halfway there, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. But it's always just one time. So I don't know. I don't know why for some reason I'm making a big deal about that, but I just feel like there's a little bit backstory or more to the story. So um, next we have Giselle. So Giselle is headed to the airport to go to Atlanta, Georgia, to go dispute her father's will. Apparently, she's the only child. I mean, I didn't know that Giselle didn't have any brothers and sisters. I didn't know that. Maybe she's her dad's only child, and maybe she has siblings on the mom's side. I don't know. I don't remember seeing that on the show. Um, but anyway, so she's headed to Atlanta to dispute the her daddy's will. Next, we have Kiara with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend, he is so stiff to me, y'all. He is so stiff, 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 stiff. But you know, she said he's such a daddy though. So in her confessional, she's telling us that he's a daddy. He pretty much she's saying the same thing I'm saying. He's stiff as hell, and he's set in his ways. He one of them old school, set in his ways, stiff ass brother. That's what he is. Like he's ain't no bending, ain't no compromising. Everything's got to be his way or the highway, and you can tell. And for some reason, she likes that shit. She's attracted to that shit. That's their thing. But I will say she looked cute in her outfit that she had on. He told her she looked cute. I agree with him. She did look nice. And and he is, and they make a cute couple. He's a handsome brother as well. And but he just was too stiff for me. I mean, they're drinking and he still wasn't loose. He kind of gave what's that guy from uh with Will Smith? What the hell was it? Um Fresh Prince of Bel Air. What's his name? Oh my God, Carlton. Dang, Carlton. To me, in my opinion, he gives me Carlton vibes. He's just, I don't know, just stiff. Next, we have Stacy and Wendy. Stacy and Wendy, they meet for lunch or whatever, and they're dressed in the same color. Now, I don't know if production did this and told them to wear the same colors because they're ordering the same food and they're arguing about the food and they're both doing the same gummy thing, like the whole Nigerian thing. Like it was just too much matchy, matchy, matchy. And I was starting to think when I saw that whole scene, especially at the end of that scene, I was like, okay, did production like have a hand in this? Because they didn't have the same exact dress on, but they had the same colors. And then when they sit down to eat, they're fighting over the food. They're ordering the same food, and then they start talking about the gummy line. She tells her that it's called shayo, and then Wendy was like, "Oh, a Nigerian word," and then Stacy was like, "Yeah." She tried to lie and say, "Oh, it means joy." You a damn lie. That's what I'm saying. Like she irritated me on this whole episode because she lied, and I can't stand a liar. And when she was talking to Ashley on FaceTime, she told Ashley that it meant happy, or she was telling the people it meant happy. I think yeah, she told the people that were doing the photo shoot that the word meant happy, and then when she's sitting in front of Wendy, she gonna lie and say it means joy. But then she's stupid to say that shit because Wendy's Nigerian. Wendy knows what that word means. So, girl, she just irritated me. That's why I said, like, I might give you praise in one episode, and then the next episode, you're going to get dragged because um, I'm just going to keep it real. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sugarcoat because I like the person. But like I said, with her, I'm neutral. Stacy is fake as hell. She is fake as a $3 bill. She's fake as a $3 bill. Okay? And they don't make $3 bills. So, what does that tell you? So in my opinion, I believe that Stacy is copycatting Wendy and Eddie. She also copycat the name, try to find okay, Happy Eddie. It's not called Happy Stacy, but it still has got the word happy. I mean, there's a million other words that you could have used to describe your thing, but you chose a word that means happy. So that's still copycatting. She doesn't have anything original. She didn't contribute anything original. She wasn't creative. It's not about her not being able to play in the same field. It's not about that. It's about her not being original and coming up with her own stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, look how many, there's hundreds of makeup lines, there's hundreds of clothing lines, there's hundreds of jewelry lines. So nobody is saying that she couldn't create the line that she's creating. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying don't copy and paste. And that's what she did. She copied and pasted. Let's move on. Next, we have Giselle. She's in Atlanta. Angel picked her up, and she's telling her that the judge heard both sides. He said that he has a lot of information. He needs time to go over the information, and he's going to give his ruling to the attorneys, and the attorneys are going to tell, like Giselle's attorney is going to tell her the outcome. That lady's attorney is going to give her the outcome. And then another reason why Angel was able to pick her up or be there for her mom is because Angel goes to Spelman College in Atlanta. And she just recently joined the sorority at Spelman. All right, and then okay, also another note that I forgot to note, the other one, Giselle was in her confessional was telling us that her dad's wife is a mean lady, and when she was describing her, I was thinking to myself, okay, Giselle, like some people be how you describing the woman that was married to your dad as someone is mean. She pretty much made her sound like she was like the wicked witch of the South. Uh, Giselle, sis, that's how some people describe you too, honey. But but no, I digress. Then the next thing they show us Jazzy getting married in Dallas in this huge, massive house in Dallas. Ashley, Wendy, and Stacy show up for the wedding, but they can't stay long because they have to get back to Potomac to do the gay. What's it called? Parade. What's it called? Pride. The Pride Parade. Again, Stacy lying. Stacy, when they were in Nevis, said she wasn't going to be able to make the wedding. Well, look at here, look at here, look at here. Guess who was able to make it? Stacy was there. So, like, this whole episode, Stacy didn't do nothing but lie. She just lied, 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 lied. Next, we have the day of the parade, the event. So, they all meet up at this bar, and Ashley gives everybody a shirt that has some slutty name. I am not going to sit here and read the names and stuff like that. Plus, I didn't write them down in my notes purposely because I wasn't going to. So, but anyway, so some of them were cute, some of them were tacky. And so, as you know, when she finished giving everybody their shirts, guess who is Bizak? Guess who's there? Guess who pulls up? Guess who shows up? Monique. Monique pulls up. And when Monique pulled up, Giselle looked shocked. You can tell Giselle did not know that Monique was going to be there. You can tell production didn't tell her. You know, Giselle usually knows everything. And she's always like moving the story along. And that's why I said she's a villain, but I like her. You know, she's nice, nasty. So, when Monique comes, she gives Wendy a hug. She gives Ashley a hug. And she gave Grace a hug. She gave Giselle a hug too. But you could tell Giselle was like uncomfortable and standoffish. And you can tell she was looking dazed and confused because she was surprised that what's her name, Monique showed up. But that was a good way to introduce her to the group and loosen up and bring her back into the fold. Now, I will say this, you guys. I did not like Ashley's drag look. Whatever the hell that was, I didn't like it. Now, the part that really bothered me is the fake mustache, beard, whatever that was. I didn't like that. If she had everything that she had on and minus that paint that she had on her face, I probably could have rocked with it, but I didn't like it. But, Ashley gets on my last nerve, so that's probably why I didn't care for it. I thought it was ugly. I didn't care for it. So then Kay was trying to be messy, and she was like, she was like, "Did you meet Stacy?" She asked Monique if she knew Stacy or she met Stacy, and Monique was like, "No, I don't know her." And then she was like, "Oh, I thought it was Samuels," and someone was like, "Oh, she knows Chris Samuels, but not this Samuels." Just being messy, and bringing the story along. So Casey said, she was surprised that Stacy didn't know her, and then somebody said, "No, that was Chris Samuels, her ex-husband that she knows." And then she was like, "Oh, okay." And then that's pretty much how it ends. Just being messy, but that's also pushing the story along for the next episode, and I'm sure that's where it's gonna pick up. And then Stacy was over there looking stupid and confused, and then it ended with the scene saying to be continued. That's it, and that's all. That was episode 7. Don't forget to comment. Let me know your opinion. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And don't forget to like the video. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care.